What's up, y'all? Welcome back to a brand new video. My name is Shane Wilson. Thank you so much for joining me. This is actually episode 13 of a series here on this channel. I think the last couple videos were also part of this series. This has been the main thing I've been doing recently, is reviewing people in my life. Right now, I'm doing my little group of friends that I have. I'm reviewing their top 10 favorite movies, giving a little review, and then a rating out of 10. 10 movies, so it's a score out of 100. So far, I have done 13 episodes, or this is the 13th episode, and this is for Mr. Aaron Tran, one of my good friends. He was one of my groomsmen in my wedding. Aaron just graduated from college. Shout out to Aaron. Love that guy. He sent me this list, and yeah, that's why we're going to get into it. We have 10 movies here, 10 pretty solid movies. I liked this pick. These were fun to watch. All right, let's just get right into it with one movie here that was on my personal top 10 as well, and that is Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Like I said, one of my all-time favorite films. To me, this is like the epitome of a teen movie. It doesn't get better than this. This is peak teen movie cinema, teen cinema, whatever you want to call it. Ferris Bueller is one of the great protagonists of all time. He's so good in this film. I've said this before when I talked about this movie, is Ferris Bueller is the kind of guy that I would just like want to be friends with, you know? And I say that. I know he doesn't treat his friends very well, at least Cameron, his friend in the movie. But I would want to be his friend, Ferris's friend. He's so fun. It's one of those movies. It's so cool. It takes place all in one day. Ferris has these crazy plans, and he pulls them off so well. His fourth wall breaks, I think, are some of the best, if not the best in a movie. Maybe the only one to me that would beat it is Deadpool, but I think Ferris Bueller might have him beat. Matthew Broderick gives one of my all-time favorite performances. The parade scene in this movie is one of my all-time favorite scenes. I think it's so fun. And yeah, that's all I got. 10 out of 10. Fantastic movie. Now, another one of those pillars of the teen movie genre, we have The Breakfast Club. John Hughes, he has a ton of teen movies, especially in the 80s, starring that same group of people, the Brat Pack, I think is what they called them. But to me, this and Ferris Bueller are his two best films of the ones I've seen, and I think they're the two most popular. The Breakfast Club manages, to bring together five different, extremely different characters. They all represent different stereotypes of the high school experience, and it's so funny because this movie came out 40 years ago, nearly 40 years ago, and it's still relevant in the sense of like the high school cliques, stereotypes don't change. It's the same, it's the same. It would be the same if you were to pick five high school stereotypes. Now it would probably be the same five. But great movie. I think it's one of the most iconic movies of all time period, especially in this genre. I think The Breakfast Club is probably the most iconic teen movie there is. The character dynamics are all really work really well together here in unison. Uniting them against Vice Principal Vernon is giving him a common enemy. Sorry, I'm having a hard time talking, so it's good that I'm recording a YouTube video. Uniting them against this common enemy works so well, and I think it's really funny. It's pretty hysterical that between this and Ferris Bueller, it's like the bad guy is like the high school principal, high school authority figure, just because they're so easy to villainize. No offense to any principals out there, because I actually don't really know any principals or teachers that are this mean or really mean at all, but whatever. The five main cast members all play off each other so well. Their chemistry is great. I want to give The Breakfast Club an 8 out of 8.5 out of 10. 8.5 out of 10. Next up, we have Transformers. I loved the Transformers trilogy as a kid. We had, my brother and I had the first three Transformers. Is it Dark of the Moon and Revenge of the Fallen? I think I got those two switched. I think that's what the first three were called, though. They're really fun movies. They're good turn your brain off movies, which sounds like a diss, but it's not. Turn your brain off movies can be good. They can be fun. Explosions, giant alien robots. What could make that cooler? I can tell you what can make that cooler. If those giant alien robots could turn into cars, guess what? I have great news for you. These are good, fun movies. They're an enjoyable watch. I need to rewatch all of them. If my memory serves me correctly, I would say that this is probably my favorite one. But 7.5 out of 10. Next up, we have Rush Hour 2. So I did go ahead and watch Rush Hour and Rush Hour 2. And I think that Rush Hour 2 does something that very few sequels, especially in the comedy or comedy action genres, achieves, is that it matches up with the first one really, really well. I think the first one is still better, slightly better, but the second one I think is of equal quality, which is very impressive. Chris Tucker is hilarious. Obviously, he's really funny in this. But to me, Jackie Chan just absolutely carries these movies. I love Jackie Chan. So I'm going to give Rush Hour 2 a 7.5 out of 10. Next up, we have Catch Me If You Can. So, two words that can make me enjoy any movie are Leonardo and DiCaprio. Now, two words that can really make me enjoy a movie are Tom and Hanks, right? So you add those four words together, I'm bound to like the film. I'll admit, for a movie that stars two of those guys who are Tom Hanks, I go back and forth between him and Matt Damon on who is my favorite actor, but he's either one or two, and Leonardo DiCaprio is probably top 5 of my favorite actors, and I also think they are the two best actors, I don't want to say ever, but at least of like the modern era. But I'll admit that I was a little bit disappointed by this movie for the fact that it stars those two guys. Not a bad movie by any means. Not bad. It's a very high quality movie. It's a fairly enjoyable movie. But I feel like it could have been, I don't know what it was, slightly better. I know that's unfair for me to say it could have been better and then not provide why, but I'm not sure why. Something with this movie, just I don't know. What I will say positive. I love seeing Tom Hanks play like a different kind of character than he normally does. And for me, an antagonist at all is just different for him. Even if he is really just playing, a good guy trying to enforce the law, he is the antagonist either way. So 7 out of 10, which isn't bad for Catch Me If You Can. Next up, we have Knives Out. My wife and I absolutely love a good murder mystery comedy. I prefer the movie Glass Onion, the second one, to the first Knives Out, and I am extremely excited for Wake Up Dead Man. The first movie, though, is still just brilliant. Chris Evans plays not only a great antagonist, but even better, he just plays a believable douche, which is what his character is supposed to be, because we don't necessarily, he's a jerk, but spoilers, you don't know he's the antagonist the whole time, right? But he just plays such a douche, so props to him for that, because I don't actually think he probably is a douche. I enjoy the second film more, I'll tell you why, just because it feels like it's more focused on Benoit Blanc, who is obviously, I think, should be the star of these movies. But the introduction of him in this film is exquisite. The cast in this one, the Glass Onion, and the next one are all great. I don't have any complaints about this movie, really. 10 out of 10. Next up, we have Parasite, which I was extremely excited to watch this movie. I actually hadn't seen it because, I really got into film like somewhat recently. So like these movies that came out like a few years ago that are considered like all-time greats, I just haven't seen because I wasn't really into movies until recently. But I was really excited to watch this, and it lived up to the hype. Though it's wonderful from start point 0.0 or 0:00, so it's great from right there. I think when the genre shift is what I would call it happens halfway through, that the movie just skyrockets. It's so well done. The concept, the writing, the direction are all fantastic. The acting, specifically from Song Kang-ho, I believe is how you say it, is also really good. If you enjoy good movies, just like quality films, and you haven't seen Parasite, go watch it. 9 out of 10. Next we have The Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift. I had never seen a Fast and Furious movie until this. I had never seen one. I know that's kind of crazy, and I know that's wild, but I haven't. I do know enough about the franchise to know that Tokyo Drift isn't really a direct sequel, and it's more of a spin-off, so I didn't feel the need to watch the first two. I believe this was the third one to come out. And I'll be honest, didn't love this movie. I'm kind of weird for a 22-year-old guy that I don't love just like a straight up action movie. I like action comedies. I like action romances, but a straight up action movie, are hit or miss, pretty hit or miss for me. And this one was a little bit of a miss, which is fine. Action thriller, that's another genre I like. Anyways, um, there there are some exceptions to that rule, but this is not one of those. The acting, specifically from the main character, Lucas Black as the actor, he's not great. It's not great, but that's to each their own. I did really enjoy both Sung Kang and Brian T. I thought they were both great. And this is not discouraging me from watching at least a couple of the other Fast and Furious movies. I don't know if I'll be able to sit down and watch all. I think there's 10 plus the spinoff with the Hobbs and Shaw. I think there's 11. I don't know if I'll be able to watch all 11, but I like a lot of the actors in it. I really like The Rock. Anyways, I hope there'll be more up my alley. I'm going to give this a 4.5 out of 10. Finally, we have... No, I'm sorry. There's two more. I don't know why I said finally. Penultimately, there you go. We have Little Manhattan. Now, this is not my surprise of the list, but I was very happily surprised by this movie. And if you're wondering why I'm saying my surprise of the list, it'll be the next one. It's usually the last one I do. I always have one movie that just really surprises me with how much I like it. Like, I'm not necessarily think I'm going to like it as much as I do, and then it's just great. Anyways, Little Manhattan. Young Josh Hutcherson is so nostalgic for me because I feel like he was just in every movie I watched growing up. I feel like I don't see him in as much stuff now, but he was in everything growing up. Anyways, so I was shocked that I hadn't seen this. Maybe I saw it as a kid and just don't remember. I don't know. But of course, this movie was pretty cheesy. It's a movie about a 10-year-old falling in love. Of course, it's going to be cheesy. But it's good. I think it really displays the experience of being a 10-year-old. And I think, it was relatable. I feel like that's an age that very few movies can execute on and convey the emotions of as well as this one does. The confusion, about him not sure if he has a crush and then accepting it. It's really funny, but it's very accurate. I love the line where he's talking about Rosemary Telesco, and he says that she's not the prettiest girl in our class. She was third. But man, could that girl do karate? I don't know why. That line just made me bust up laughing. I thought it was so funny. Also, I love the aspect of having Gabe, Josh Hutcherson's character, be the narrator, not just setting up the story and ending the story, but all throughout he's telling us what's going on in his head, and I think that was great. 7.5 out of 10 for Little Manhattan. I enjoyed it. And finally, we have 500 Days of Summer. Now, this is my surprise of the list. This is a really, really good rom-com that breaks a lot of rom-com tropes, It's fun and it's funny. A specific funny scene, I think the scene where they're at the karaoke bar, hilarious, really funny, a lot of good one-liners in there. The flash mob scene was really fun. Those are always fun, right? Everybody loves a good flash mob. And this is a good one, Destiny and I were talking. She watched the first half with me before she fell asleep. That's usually how it goes with movies. Doesn't matter how good or bad it is. She's probably going to fall asleep halfway through. She's consistent. I thought she's not home, but I know she's on her way home, I think. So I thought I heard her. That's why I paused. She's going to hear me talk about her falling asleep. She's going to get mad. She's not going to get mad. She doesn't get mad at me. She's an angel. Anyways, the flash mob scene is great. We were talking about how this and Enchanted are other than Enchanted, I couldn't really think of a flash mob in a movie that's as good as this one. So props to it for that. That's fun. Spoilers. It's refreshing that they don't end up together. I root for love. I'm a lover of love. I enjoy love. I like when people fall in love, especially in movies. But it's kind of refreshing that they fell in love and then fell right back out of it. It's just something different. Joseph Gordon-Levitt plays an extremely flawed, but overall entertaining protagonist, and somewhat relatable protagonist, especially for a guy that's a romantic like myself, But like I said, he's a very flawed character. Recognize that. I think that's okay. And finally, I liked how at the end, it goes back down to 1. I thought that was nice. Good touch right there at the end. So I'm going to give that a 9 out of 10 for 500 Days of Summer, which brings Aaron's score to an 80.5, which that puts him, let's see. First place is my brother-in-law Grant with a 90 out of 100. And last place is my dear friend Mr. Craig with a 70, and he told me that that is 20 more points than he thought he was going to get. So shout outs to him. And this puts Aaron at an 80.5. So, pretty much splitting the difference. It puts him right above my sister-in-law Olivia and my brother and my father-in-law JJ. They have an 80. So puts him right above them, 80.5. So shout out to Aaron. I really enjoyed this list. I'll say this because I was talking to my good buddy Edmund about it, and he was like you talk about how good this movie is, and then you give like a 7. Here's my thing. I really don't want to be mean. I'm asking somebody to take time out of their day to send me a list of movies. And then they send it to me, and I'm just going to crap on them? No, I don't want to be mean. Even if I don't like the movie, I'm going to tell you the positives. I don't really like focusing on the negatives in any aspect of my life. And like me, I tell Destiny this when we review movies, or when I review, anytime I watch a movie, I tell her about it. And she'll always listen to me because she's great. But she doesn't take any of my ratings seriously because she's like, you're just too nice, Like, she's like, a Shane 7 is like a 5 for anybody else. But you know what? This is Shane's YouTube channel and Shane's YouTube video, so I'm going to give it whatever the heck I want. And Aaron Tran gets an 80.5 out of 100. So shouts out to him. Thank you guys so much for watching. Shout out Aaron. Next video is going to be my good friend that I've known for... I don't know how long I've known this dude. A long time, like 16 years. Mr. Dalen Wynn. Well, we're going to do his movies next. I literally have half of a movie left that I have to watch, and then I will have Dalen, and then I'll record that video and get that one out to you. So stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for watching. This has been another video. Peace!